And what practices might you, of your great array of practices,
I
would
think,
cultivate that?
The muscle of the heart.
yeah,
And of the devotional
the
love.
devotional muscle. I think music. I think it's the only way to go beyond word conceptual formulations. In a Tower of Babel of today, when Jehovah is not the same as Allah, even if both use the description of being the only one God, but still there's a cultural accretions that make it difficult for us to not feel we are worshipping one point in a series of possible points in the ideal universe or in the map of holy representations. But music can go beyond that. It's like the pure act of worship, pure devotional enthusiasm without a definition of the content.
Well, music is definitely going to be part of our Center for World Spirituality. Marc has a real talent for getting large groups of people deeply engaged in inspired chant.
Yeah.
Well, chant is just a wonderful. And that's what the Levites in the temple were doing. That's what Rumi did. Rumi wasn't doing shikantaza, right?
No.
He wasn't doing zazen. He was doing something else. There was something else
Yes,
happening.
yes.
So music
It's
as
love, music as worship. Music
right.
there's kinds of music that are worship, and the best classical music is full of it, and it's at least one of the threads.
Yeah.
Like if you certain works like the Ninth Symphony, or the first movement of the Ninth Symphony,
Yeah.
is not just it's not like Bach, where you have a reverent adoration of somebody who is genuflecting inside of a cathedral. It's getting into the mind of God Himself,
Yeah.
or itself. It's as if it's the closest to Genesis
Yes.
in music,
Yes. No, it's
the
music.
creative act,
Yeah.
creative impulse in itself.
Mm.
So I think it's a whole world of possibilities, but sometimes music can be used as a stimulus for the other loves. There's compassion, very poignantly expressed in
Yes.
music, and eros. Chopin used to say that the energy he put in writing music was the same. He said, "I write with semen."
Oh, wow.
Right. Beautiful.
Great.
Beautiful. There's some music, really bringing music back online in that way that all the great traditions did. You know, the traditions did it in a very particular worshipful way, but if we could actually expand music and use it as really a core sacred technology to develop the muscle, right, of loving. And of course, as Mariana says, in our particular predilection, you know, music has become very, very important and very just essential to everything, because music, if you look at an image of world spirituality, you know, the image that we're kind of playing with is kind of a symphony in which you have different instruments. You have to actually master an instrument. You don't get to be a dilettante. You have to actually have some mastery of an instrument, but the instrument's not the music, right? The instrument actually is the religion. The music, underneath it all, right, is spirit, and to actually bring music back online in that way would seem to be a key constituent element. So we've got
Yes.
now freedom practices. We have now, and again, I'm playing the masculine linear role here.
Yeah,
we have
good.
freedom practices. We have heart muscle practices. So what would be the next set of practices that you think might be important as we're constructing the spiritual toolbox of a world spirituality? Freedom practices, heart muscle practices. What might be?
Well, when it comes to wisdom, the word practice becomes tricky. How can you practice wisdom? Yeah, you can practice reading, you can practice hearing the teachings, but there's a point where the laboratory of the teachings is the act of meditation.
Right.
Let's say you are you have a glimpse of the deep truth, if you have a glimpse of the deeper reality underlining the world of appearances, of relative truths, and of the conventional truths, as Buddhism calls them sometimes. Suppose you get an inkling of pure consciousness out of which everything is made. You need to experience that consciousness, and you are told that it's ever present, but the difficulty is that we cannot detect it if we are thinking at the same time. So you need to be very present-centeredness. You have to be in the instant. And the instant has to be a brief enough instant so there's no time for thoughts to unfold, because thought takes time to, it's related to language. So you cannot divorce the grasp of that materia prima that is consciousness in itself, the droplet that creates all things, which is like the light on the TV screen. Beyond it becomes images. You cannot get that if you don't have something else in addition, which is the ability to concentrate.
Right.
So in some sense, wisdom is not a practice, it's a view that you inherit from people who have it and who can explain it, and you can hold on, you can work on understanding it. But if you want to say practicing that, it's to bring that view into operation in an act of meditation, is to observe reality now through that lens.
Mystical concentration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So it becomes Hatha Yoga, the world of another dimension, which is the mind training, the purifying your mind from thinking, from agitation, remaining in the present, really coming to believe, to entertain not as an abstract idea, the past is past, and to really believe right now that the future has not happened. So the only reality is here. And maybe through that, the force of that view, that which is a belief, while you are not experiencing it, a belief, you can really begin to come to make the mind for a little while uninterested in going somewhere else. And if your mind really doesn't want to go anywhere, maybe you can find that mysterious nothingness that the teachings talk about, which is not nothing, but it's not anything that is in the map.